Hi, whiskey drinkers and whiskey lovers. This is Vega from the Whiskey Hunter Club. I'm back again with a couple of new bottles that I wanted to share with you and just give you a quick update. So the auction was a tremendous success. We had, it was going till the last minute, and very big congratulations to Kaushik, who finally won the bottle, the Blue Run Golden Rye. And it was thrilling, at least for me, to watch so many people jump in and enjoy the auction. So congratulations to Kaushik. I also wanted to take this opportunity to tell you guys that because of the frenzy and the activity and the excitement around the auction, I have decided to extend the ballot for this newsletter. It was supposed to finish on Sunday, but I have extended it to this following Saturday. So if you haven't put in your entries for this month's ballot, I recommend you do so straight away, because there's some glorious bottles up for grabs. And I thought I'll quickly sort of share my thoughts about these bottles of whiskey and we'll just talk about the two whiskeys we have in our ballot this month. So firstly, we have the Baker's 7. It's a Kentucky straight bourbon. It's 7 years old, which is pretty high for a bourbon because, like the Indian climate, the temperature in Kentucky, USA is pretty high. So unlike Scotland, where it takes a long time for maturation of whiskey, bourbon in hotter climates takes a little less time. So you'll find a more flavorful whiskey in less amount of time when it comes to bourbon. So the age statements are usually not very high in bourbon whiskeys. So this is a beautiful bottle. It's by the Jim Beam distillery. Now, I'm sure you all have heard of Jim Beam. It's probably one of the first few bourbons that you've tried. Now, Jim Beam, the standard bottle, is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the whiskeys that the Beam distillery produces. They do a great big lineup of whiskeys which are made more for whiskey enthusiasts and not just entry-level whiskey drinkers. And this is one of those whiskeys. To give you a quick history around this bottle, there was a maverick by the name of Baker Beam, who was the great grandnephew of the legend Jim Beam, and he was this motorcycle riding, leather jacket wearing, like fanatic, whiskey fanatic, who spent all his life at the Beam distillery. He started as at the bottom rung and worked his way up all the way to master distiller. And he was this introvert kind of guy who just loved whiskey. So when he passed, his cousin, what was his name? His cousin's name was Booker No. Yes. So Booker No decided to start a line of whiskey to honor Baker. And that's how Baker started. And they have two bottles in the lineup. One is a Baker's 7, which I have here, and a Baker's 13, which I also have in my collection, but we'll talk about some other day. So Baker's 7 is what they call a single barrel whiskey, which means that all the whiskey in this bottle is coming out of one single barrel or cask of whiskey. So every barrel of whiskey has a slightly different taste because of the way it is, the temperature at which it was stored for maturation, what the location was. So every single barrel of whiskey tastes slightly different. So, which means that every bottle of Baker's 7 will have a slightly different taste because it comes from one single barrel of whiskey. So this is a 7-year-old Baker's, and it's bottled at 53.5% ABV, so 107 proof, and it's this beautiful whiskey that's rated very highly Yeah, so it's really recommended. It has notes of nutty oak and vanilla, and people who drink this really enjoy it. So I'm very excited that this is in the ballot. Now, the second bottle that I have, and which I wanted to discuss with you, is this. It's the Oban 18. Now, I'm sure you've heard of Oban 14, which is the standard bottle that you would have seen in takas around India, or in your duty-free stores. And Oban is a really interesting distillery because it's probably one of the smallest distilleries in Scotland. It's actually that small that it only employs 7 people. So imagine having a brand like this, which is known around the world, and only having 7 employees. It's tremendous. And Oban Distillery was actually built, and then Oban, the town in Scotland, was built around it. So it's a really fascinating distillery, which, to be honest, cannot be expanded or grown anymore, just because of the fact that the town is all around Oban Distillery now, and they don't have the space to grow. So they produce only about 700,000 liters of whiskey, and for that they only need 7 employees. So that was fascinating. So anyhow, coming back to the whiskey, Oban 14, I'm sure you've tasted, and if you haven't, you must. Is this really sort of seaweedy, briny kind of whiskey, and the 18 is just amping that up. The flavors are punchier. It's bolder, with the same sort of tastes or the same sort of notes, but just accentuated. It's supposed to be a fabulous dram, and it's a limited edition. This only gets released in the US, and I'm very excited that this is in our in our ballot, and it's a very prized collection. It's a very prized part of my collection, so I'm very happy to share it with you guys. And yeah, so without making this video too much longer, I just wanted to share a little bit about the whiskeys for this month's newsletter, and let you guys know that the ballot is still open. Go for it if you're keen on these, and if you want me to make more videos, or you have some ideas in terms of how we can take this club, the Whiskey Hunter Club. I am absolutely open to feedback and looking for your suggestions. I'm experimenting, as you saw, with the auction, and I will continue to do so, and try and bring interesting whiskeys, which hopefully you guys like and would like to try for yourself. So I'll share the link for the ballot Nietzsche. If you want, I'll reshare the newsletter as well if you haven't read it quite as yet. And I look forward to your thoughts and suggestions. Have a great long weekend, guys. Drink responsibly, please. Whiskeys are meant to be enjoyed, not chugged. Happy holidays for those who celebrate Easter. Happy Easter for when for Sunday. Take care, guys. Thank you. Namaste.